Hello everyone, Joel here from Golf Monthly. I hope you're well and you join me at the stunning Adare Manor. It's a bit windy today, but I'm going to try and talk to you about the new Titleist U500 and U510 utility irons. Now we know the TMB iron from the 718 range was Titleist Utility Iron Club, but it was available as a full set. But Titleist wanted this to be its own separate entity, and they've done it with two different models this time around to suit two very different needs and two very different ball flights depending on what you're after. Both of these irons feature fully forged faces. There's also a lot of tungsten in these club heads, so over 90 grams of tungsten in both of these club heads, which is really going to stabilise the club face. And you can see, looking at them, there's two very distinct shapes with these clubs. So starting with the U500, which I've got here, this is a much more compact utility iron, so designed for players that want to look down on a smaller shape. So it's a thinner top line, much narrower sole, and that's going to affect how it plays through the turf when you're hitting it off the deck. So this one's going to flight the ball a little bit lower, perhaps be not quite as forgiving, and it's also got a slightly heavier stock graphite shaft. This is a hazardous smoke shaft, which comes as one of the stock options with this club. So it's definitely designed to spin the ball a little bit less, get the ball chasing a little bit more. Conversely, the U510 is a bit of a new shape for Titleist in the utility iron sector. This is a much wider sole. It's similar looking in terms of the finish on it. You've got this brushed finish on the back here with a glossy element to it, but much wider sole, which is visible from a dress view, a thicker top line, and this is going to flight the ball a little bit higher. So if you're looking for a bit more stopping power with a utility iron club, this one is going to deliver that for you. Now these utility irons feature the thinnest ever face Titleist have put on a utility iron, so compared to the TMB model, in the same loft you should experience more ball speed and distance with this club. And I went through the fitting process here on the range at Adare Manor with James Robertson, who's a Titleist product specialist, and I was really interested to try both of these irons out because they do come in a range of different lofts. I tested the 3 iron here, which was 20 degrees of loft, but I was testing both of them up against each other, and it was clear that these two clubs do deliver two very different flight windows. So it's obvious that the 3 iron in the U500, which is the smaller, more compact shape, delivers a lower trajectory that's going to run a lot more and actually spun a little bit less than the U510, which for me I found much easier to hit. It got the ball up in the air a lot easier. It looked about 5 yards higher on average, the ball flight with this U510, and I think this is definitely going to be a bit more of a versatile option. The U500, which is slightly smaller, is going to be more for players that want to just use it off the tee, get a nice low ball flight, maybe you play a firm links course, get it chasing down there and running a lot. The U500 is going to do that. I definitely prefer the look of the U500, there's no question. It's much more iron-like, a bit more traditional. It's there's not much to look at in terms of the cavity being visible behind the top line, but there's no question for me the U510 was easier to hit. Definitely feel like I could hit this into par 5s and get it to stop a little bit quicker. Did spin a little bit more for me as well, and the lighter shaft did help get the high ball flight as well with this club.
So we just did a little bit of testing with the U500 and the U510, and there's a couple of numbers that I'd like to point out, which was quite interesting, the performance differences between the two. If we're looking at peak height between them, 500 was in there peaking at 70 feet, and the 510 is designed to go a little bit higher with very similar shaft and setup in there, and all of a sudden we're up at 85, so it's 15 feet high throughout. What that's doing is the land angle's then going up from 35 degrees coming in to almost 45, so it's literally 10 degrees steeper. So from a height perspective and performance, we quite like what the 510 did over the 500.
So two very distinct offerings in the utility iron market from Titleist, and in the U510, Titleist have brought back the 1 iron. I've got it here. Now this was an absolute joy to hit. It comes in 16 degrees, this one. You can't get it in the 500, you can only get it in the 510. But this was such a joy to hit. I was really surprised. You think about 1 iron, you think about butter knives, you think about chasing shots down the fairway, no more than 6 feet in the air. But because this is the 510 model, it's got that wide sole, so it's quite forgiving through the turf, and it does pop the ball up in the air a lot more than you expect. I was hitting shot after shot on the Trackman, aiming down the left, opening the face slightly, hitting nice little cuts with about 2 yards of fade, and I found it really, really easy to do off the deck, which is where you would think this club would really struggle, but it definitely didn't struggle. And I think it's going to confuse a lot of people because people are going to start to think about what type of club they want to use. Do they want the higher flight and the more forgiveness through the turf of the 510, or do they want a lower running flight of the 500? You know, with all the different lofts that are available in both of these clubs, you've got a really big decision to make. Obviously, there's some hybrid options as well you can choose from, but it really is going to make you think about which is the best option for your bag. And I'm genuinely leaning towards the 1-iron, because out on the range, I was hitting shot after shot straight down the middle with this club, and I was surprised at how easy it was to shape the ball, flight it high. Very easy to control the accuracy with this club. It's a great solution on tight par 4s. You can get it chasing into par 5s if you want to. Surprisingly forgiving on off-centre hits. So, you know, this really surprised me, and I think when we do some follow-up testing, you know, with the reviews coming soon, this is the club that's going to surprise a lot of people, this U510 1-iron. So hopefully that's given you a good steer about what these clubs are all about from Titleist. But for now, from Adare Manor, it's goodbye.